In our previous lecture, we understood the conditions under which a laser beam is produced from active medium. We realized that it is stimulated emission that occurs responsible for laser amplification. Stimulated emission occurs when an external photon triggers the de-excitation of atoms in the excited state. Now, there are several lasers: helium neon laser, ruby laser, semiconductor diode laser. Today we are going to see what is CO2 laser. Laser produced from CO2, carbon dioxide molecules. If carbon dioxide molecule is to be used as active medium, here in a CO2 laser, the active medium is carbon dioxide molecules. Carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. This carbon dioxide molecule can produce laser. Under what conditions? What is metastable state here? Which energy levels are involved in laser transition? We will see that in carbon dioxide laser, vibrational energy states of these molecules, not electronic energy states, vibrational energy states are involved. We all know in an atom, electrons are revolving in orbits. These are electronic states. Between two electronic states, vibrational energy states exist. Between vibrational energy levels, rotation energy states do exist. So, vibrational energy states correspond to vibrational degrees of freedom available for these atoms. Carbon dioxide molecule has a linear structure. See this? This is the structure of carbon dioxide molecule. Correct? Now, when you have large assembly of carbon dioxide molecules, when there is thermal energy, they start colliding amongst themselves. They start the vibrational energy states will be involved. Now, that these molecules will get excited to vibrational energy states due to constant collision. There are three vibrational modes possible for carbon dioxide molecule. One vibrational mode is called as symmetric stretching mode. What is symmetric stretching mode? It is represented by quantum number 100. This energy state is represented by three numbers 100. What does it represent? If two oxygen atoms are periodically symmetrically stretched like this, right? This bond behaves like an elastic spring. So if the two atoms, oxygen atoms, stretch and compress, if they perform simple harmonic motion like this, correct? Carbon atom will be at rest. These oxygen atoms are being pulled outwards and then inwards, correct? The elastic nature of this bond makes these oxygen atoms, if they vibrate, then we call it is symmetric stretching vibration. That is a vibration energy state available for carbon dioxide molecules. And another state called as asymmetric stretching mode. What is asymmetric stretching mode? It is represented by 001 quantum number. What is asymmetric? In this condition, see here you have oxygen atom here. One oxygen atom is moving in one direction. Another atom means it is trying to stretch this bond. Correct? This oxygen atom is moving this way. Now this oxygen atom, due to collisions, tends to move in the same direction. Here they were in opposite direction. Both the bonds were elastically stretched, compressed. Correct? That was symmetry. But here there is asymmetry because this bond is getting elongated, this bond is getting compressed. This is asymmetric stretching state, vibrational state. Carbon dioxide molecules in a large assembly can be in any one of these states. This asymmetric stretching state is called as a metastable state. Carbon dioxide molecules in this state possess more lifetime. There is another state, vibrational state called as bending mode. Bending mode represented by 010 like this. What is this bending mode? Carbon dioxide molecule bending like this. See this? The oxygen atoms, this carbon, oxygen, carbon, right? Oxygen, carbon, oxygen. This axis, with respect to this axis, oxygen atoms are vibrating like this. Okay? So one possible state is like this or like this also. So this is represented by 010. This is symmetric stretching, atoms symmetrically stretching and compressing. Here it is, this atom also moves, the carbon atom, because this atom is moving this side, this bond is elongated, this bond is getting compressed, so carbon atom will move. So in bending mode, oxygen atoms with respect to the axis, bond axis, they are oscillating like this, causing this shift. Now out of all these three states are involved in laser emission. This is metastable state. Carbon dioxide molecule in this state is said to be metastable state. So now to make CO2 laser, we have to pump atoms from ground state to this metastable state. How to excite carbon dioxide molecules to metastable state? They do not readily absorb energy. For that we need an external accompanying group of atoms. Nitrogen atoms do this job. Nitrogen atoms have energy level close to this asymmetric energy state of carbon dioxide. So in carbon dioxide laser, nitrogen atoms are also used. Helium atoms are used in this laser unit to take away the heat produced, to bring down carbon dioxide molecules to ground state faster. So nitrogen atoms are used in carbon dioxide laser to help in pumping. How does it work? We will now see. Okay. So what does carbon dioxide laser contain? A discharge tube whose diameter is very of the order of few millimeters. See here, this is the discharge tube, right? It consists of two silver mirrors. One is 100% silver, another is partially silver. Okay, this is partially silver mirror. Brewster windows could be used to produce polarized light, correct? So here carbon dioxide is taken, nitrogen is taken, helium is taken. This is active medium. In what ratio? 1:2:8. In some books you may see 4. What you must see is, you must have more helium atoms to take away the heat produced here. Since a lot of heat is produced in this process, this is enclosed by a coaxial water jacket where cold water is circulating to take away the heat, right? Now the diameter of this is of the order of few millimeters, 1 to 2 millimeters. The length depends on the power that is required from this source. Suppose if the length is 1 meter, it can give a power of up to 50 watts, 60 watts. Now how to pump these atoms to excited state? Here there is an electrode connected to an external voltage source. What voltage? Up to 3000 volts required to produce around 50 watt power. Please understand this most interesting point. Laser is not creating any energy. It is only, we know energy can only be transformed, right? The external voltage source taken 3000 volt. You know energy that is supplied to this system more than 1000 watts. What do we get in return? 50 watt laser light. So is it efficient process? No. This process can be 15% efficient to 20% efficient. That is the efficiency. In a laser unit, the energy supplied by the external agency to excite the atom is very high. 3000 volt external source is applied. Now what happens is, this high electric voltage applied between the two electrodes causes ionization of this gas. few electrons are produced by the ionization. They collide with nitrogen atoms first. Carbon dioxide molecules do not go to the excited state. They are not readily absorbing energy. The electrons produced during the ionization due to high electric field applied in this, the electric discharge occurs. Ionization of the gases occur, producing electrons. The fast moving electrons collide with nitrogen, and nitrogen atoms will be excited. So I will write now energy level diagram. The nitrogen atoms possess an energy level, vibration energy states close to vibrational state of carbon dioxide. So first, what is happening? Nitrogen atoms using energy produced in the electric discharge go to the excited state. This is roughly 0.3 eV. It takes so less here. That is why carbon dioxide laser is said to be highly efficient. It requires less energy to pump for optical pumping, whereas in helium neon laser, ruby laser, energy, the electronic energy states are involved. So energy levels are at a height of 13 eV, 14 eV. Here it is just 0.3 eV. Okay. First, nitrogen atoms are pumped to this level in the discharge tube. Now what happens is nitrogen atoms undergo collision with carbon dioxide molecules and pump them to this level. This level is asymmetric stretching state. It is called as metastable state. Correct? See this? Asymmetric stretching mode. Carbon dioxide molecules, when they collide with nitrogen, the atoms, oxygen atoms, move in such a way to cause asymmetric stretching, asymmetric mode of vibration of carbon dioxide molecules. This is metastable state. So carbon dioxide molecules are not directly pumped. There is a media. Nitrogen atoms are used in discharge tube. First they get excited and they undergo collision and pump carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide molecules are not readily absorbing energy from electrical source. So this media is required. So nitrogen atoms perform this duty. Now carbon dioxide, when it goes here, it is in the metastable state. Now two types of laser transitions are possible. One, from here they de-excite to a state called as 100 symmetric stretching, releasing a laser beam here of wavelength 10.6 micrometers. There is another laser beam possible from here, see this, to another state. This state is bending mode 010. Okay, this releases a laser beam of wavelength 9.6 micrometer. See this bending mode, you may see this as 020 or 010. What does it represent? See here, if this is C, if the atoms oxygen is like this, this is 010, or if they are like this is represented as 020. So it is bending mode only. So let it be 020. Okay. So laser transition, there are two laser radiations emitted from CO2 laser at these wavelengths. These are laser transitions. Now what happens after this? The carbon dioxide molecule from here, next they come to another level. This is 010. This is non-radiative emission. Okay. By collision with helium atoms, they get de-excited to this level. That is why helium atoms are used. The helium atoms take away the heat. They also facilitate faster de-excitation. See, after laser beam is produced, the carbon dioxide molecule that is here undergoes collision with CO2. It comes here and then they come to the ground state. This is ground state. And again, population inversion process will begin by undergoing collision with nitrogen atom. They go here. This cycle continues. So carbon dioxide laser is an efficient laser, relatively more efficient. You can produce laser light of intensity few kilowatts, megawatts are being planned today. This is how laser beam is produced in garment factories for precise cutting of cloth. This is used, right? So this process is quite simple. It can easily be understood. There is another type of laser called as semiconductor laser. So what is semiconductor laser? How is it different from carbon dioxide laser? Semiconductors like gallium arsenide are used to produce laser light. Diode laser or see, I am taking the example of gallium arsenide laser. How is a PN junction, a diode, used to produce laser light? You all know light emitting diodes, LEDs. Normal LEDs which we use, are they emitting laser light? No, they are producing normal light. How? What is happening in an LED? First understand how an LED emits light and then understand under what condition that light can be monochromatic, that light can be coherent. How can a PN junction be used to emit light? So let us look at P-type semiconductor. Okay, its energy level diagram will be like this. P-type semiconductor, you have holes in valence band, conduction band is empty. N-type semiconductor, okay, in N-type semiconductor, see this, its conduction band is unbiased PN junction I am talking. Its conduction band is almost close to valence band. See this is valence band. This is N-type semiconductor. You have electrons already in conduction band. Here holes in valence band. This is an unbiased PN junction. Now when it is forward biased, when a suitable forward bias voltage is applied such that the electrons can cross this potential barrier and enter P side from N side. Correct? In a semiconductor laser, the optical pumping is produced. It happens through applying suitable forward bias voltage. Right? That makes this gap lesser. Right? Now, see, this is the energy gap, potential barrier that is there. If the electron has to go to conduction band, then it requires this much energy. So we call it Eg. That is applied through forward bias voltage. Then what happens? The electrons come here. They cross the barrier. These electrons de-excite, combine with holes. Electrons here, hole combination, we call it recombination, produces light in a LED, light in a diode. In a normal diode, this is how light is produced. Now under what conditions this can become coherent light? Laser. We have to ensure stimulated emission, not spontaneous emission. Normal LED gives spontaneous light. How do you make it coherent light? Make sure stimulated emission dominates spontaneous emission. So how does it occur? When you apply suitable forward bias voltage, electrons go to this conduction band on P side. Now a photon of same energy as this electron has to be sent to this system. This is external photon. Its energy should be equal to this energy gap. An external photon of same energy is sent, which interacts with these electrons, makes them de-excite and combine with holes. Electron hole recombination occurs and laser beam is produced. Because stimulated emission is happening. In normal LEDs, it is spontaneous emission. That is not monochromatic, that is not coherent. But in a diode laser, in a semiconductor laser, they ensure that stimulated emission occurs by sending a photon, and that triggers the de-excitation and you get intense beam of light. Coherent light waves are produced. So now in this case, what is the wavelength of light produced? Eg is equal to hc by lambda. The energy gap, the potential applied is nothing, is equal to, see here, charge into potential, EV. EV is energy produced, energy acquired by electrons when a potential difference V is produced, forward bias voltage is applied. So in a semiconductor laser, forward bias voltage acts as optical pumping and it causes population inversion. Correct? So all this is process happening inside in an PN junction. How does a diode laser look like? I will draw that diagram now. A diode laser, suppose if this is p-type semiconductor, see here this is p-type semiconductor, okay. Now n-type semiconductor, okay. Between them is this is the junction, PN junction, correct. Now I apply forward bias voltage. So electrons are the majority charge carriers on n side, holes are majority charge carriers on p side. Now when a forward bias is applied, electrons are the electrons are pushed from n side to p side. They combine with holes. For that, they have to cross the potential barrier, depletion region. So you have to supply suitable voltage for this to occur. So when suitable forward bias voltage is applied, electrons from n side are injected into p side. That causes population inversion. Those electrons combine with holes and laser beam is produced. Okay, this is how a gallium arsenide or a semiconductor diode laser works. See, the small lasers, toy lasers which we use, they are all diode lasers. They are efficient, they are portable, they are cheaper, very easy. Everywhere I cannot use carbon dioxide laser, right? It's a huge apparatus. Whereas this semiconductor diode laser, very portable, cheaper, efficient, we are able to use it. Is it clear? So two things you must notice. One, a normal LED produces incoherent light, correct? There is no stimulated emission happening there. In a diode laser, instead of spontaneous emission, stimulated emission is ensured. So now, applications of lasers. Lasers, as I told you, in optical fiber, data reading, atmospheric pollution study, drilling, cutting, welding, all these are applications. Please read about laser drilling, cutting. I'm not giving you more information as they are very general. Lot of literature, a lot of videos are available. Laser cutting, laser drilling, laser welding. Okay. But I would like to focus, instead of these applications, a very important application, data storage in in a CD or DVD using laser. This is a very important application of lasers. How is data stored, recorded in a DVD? Why is laser preferred there? Why not some other light? How is data stored in a DVD? A DVD is a plate containing large number of circular tracks like this which are very closely spaced. In a CVD or a DVD, large number of closely spaced circular tracks are produced. What is the separation between these tracks? The separation in a CD is around 1.6 micrometer. In a DVD, the separation is very narrow. More tracks are available, more data is stored. In a DVD, it is around 1 micrometer. So large number of tracks are present. People say it is the length of these circular tracks could be a few kilometers, right? So it is a particular kind of plastic material on which now data has to be encrypted. How is data written on this sensitive, light sensitive material? You must now understand what is CD writing, what is CD reading. Okay, to read a data in a DVD, first data has to be written on a DVD, right? How is data stored, information stored in a DVD? Now I'll give you an enlarged view of a particular track. Let us take a track, a portion of the track. See this? Consider a portion of the track AB. This track consists of, see here, structures called as pits and flat surfaces, pit and land. See this? Something like this. This is called as pit. This is called as land, flat surface. Okay. the track on the in the track there will be large number of pits structure, which is a small kind of depression, and flat surface called as land. Correct? Each pit or a land is represented as zeros. Okay? The light reflected from a pit, laser light, when it falls on the pit, it is incident normally, so it gets reflected back in the same direction. What happens to a laser light falling on the flat surface? It falls normally and gets reflected back. That represents zero state. But what happens to light that falls on the pit like this here on the edges? See this? Look at this ray that is not falling exactly on a pit or on a land, but in the intermediate inclined region it is incident. So that ray, you know what, will get reflected in a different direction. It will come like this. Correct? Whereas these rays are incident normally, get reflected back in the same direction. They represent 0. This ray represents 1. Why? It is incident from a portion that is not normal. Correct? So zeros and ones are written on a DVD in the form of pits and land. Correct? Now, how to write data? See, when laser beam is made to fall on this photosensitive material, for example, let us say I have to store a song in a DVD. The song is audio data. Now, audio data has to be sampled as 8-bit or 13-bit samples. Okay? When the sound wave is produced by